Hello and welcome back. Okay, so in the last video, we were just talking about how we can subset data by a condition or by a name within a column or by something equaling something within some column. Okay, bunch of different ways we can do this. There is one thing I want to mention, and it's a rule that is true in R and it's true in a bunch of other languages too. But again, we're not doing other languages. We're just doing this one, and it's here. And it's this rule, okay? So we used a double equal sign here because we're specifying a character. We're specifying a character. We use pretty much everything else, okay? So equal for a number, greater than or equal, less than and equal to, less than and greater than, okay? These are all the characters that you would use. I'm not going to show you how to do it in here because this function here gets really finicky with values, with like actual numbers, okay? But this rule applies. So we use a double equal sign for characters. Oftentimes that's what we care about, but there are some instances where we want to filter things out by the number. So in this case, if we just wanted people who are 78 years old, or who are greater than or equal to 60 years old, or less than or equal to, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And so that's pretty much that. This is always, good to know. A lot of errors show up because of getting these kind of mixed up. Okay. So here we go. Method number, I think I have it called method number 3 in the script, but method number 4 here, whatever. We're getting into some fun stuff. We're getting into some stuff that's a little bit easier to read, I think. It looks a little funky right now, but I promise it will become second nature in no time. Okay, so what we need to do first is, we need to recognize that we're going to be using an external package, a different library that R has to offer. Somebody made, the person actually who made the Tidyverse also made RStudio, okay? And these two things, this package and RStudio, work together so well. Chef's kiss. So good. So good. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just call this with the Tidyverse. Now, this is when we really need to pay attention. Okay. So the Tidyverse is not, if you have just downloaded R, you probably do not have the Tidyverse downloaded. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to come in here into the console. You can do it up here in the script, but you only need to run what I'm about to do one single time, unless you get a brand new computer. Again, you only need to do what I'm about to do once, okay? And that is run the command install dot, and then check it out, install dot packages, that first one. And then we just want quotation marks and then Tidyverse, Tidyverse, okay? And I'm just going to run this one time. Once you install it, you never ever have to do it again unless you get a new computer. Okay. I'm going to run that. It's going to take a second. It's going to think, it's going to think, it's going to think. And then eventually, check it out. It's going to say where it's downloaded to, whatever. It's going to download a bunch of stuff. Okay. Booyah. There we go. Now, what you do need to do every time you start up R is say, or at least every time you want to use the Tidyverse, which is going to be every time in this class, I want to say, open up the library and then Tidyverse. Check it out. Easy as that. What I just ran up here, install.packages, run one time. Run it right now. Pause the video, turn it off, turn off the YouTube, turn off everything except for your computer, and run this line of code. And then every single time you start up R, run this, okay? So you run this one time, you run this every time, okay? Very, very important. And when we control enter, run that, it's going to load up. It's taking a second to think, right? Little stop sign showed up. Booyah. Look at this. There's a bunch of other packages in here that make R so much better. And we'll actually use most of these too. We're going to be using ggplot for plotting, shows up over here. We're going to be using dplyr right now. And we're also going to be using the tidier. Kind of fun names, kind of weird, but you'll get used to seeing them after a little bit. Warning message, whatever. I'm not too worried about this. It's just telling me that this version of the Tidyverse was built under a different version of R. I have an older version. It doesn't matter. If you just downloaded R, you have the newest version, which is great. So everything should work real nice and smoothly for you. Okay, we've got the Tidyverse installed and we have it called. Now, the Tidyverse functions that I'm about to show you, it's an additional set of functions, will not work if you have not run this, okay? They will not work. It's very important that you do this run this line of code every single time. Oh, okay, sorry. A lot of people forget to do this, and it was my bad a few semesters ago. I forgot to mention that little rule, and people were getting frustrated, and I don't want that to happen again because being frustrated is no good. Okay. So here we go. Method 3. We're gonna subset again. Gonna be males 3, and it's gonna get the data from muscle, the mother data, and then how would you say and then in R? Right? Because don't forget, we're working honestly with like a spoken language here. So right now, males 3 is gonna get the data from muscles and then something. Maybe that. So before I move on, this little thing right there, percent greater than percent, is what's known as a pipe operator. And let me actually come back to the thing here. The thing. This thing, the presentation, this thing right here, this pipe operator translates to and then. It's like a verb, kind of, or at least an addition to a sentence. Okay, so and then what are we gonna do? Well, we want to filter out something. Okay, we want to take a filter and then grab what's left in the filter, right? Well, it turns out that there's just a function called filter. And check it out. So we have a bunch of different things that are called filter or similar to filter. And look, this capital F filter, I have no idea what this does. It looks like it does not do what we want it to do. Check it out. It says it's from base. That means it's a built-in function. And then all of these other ones are from dplyr. It's from this extra library that we loaded in. It makes life so much easier. Okay, so then we just give it the old parentheses. And then what do we want? Well, we don't need any more dollar signs. We don't need any more weird notation or anything. We just want sex equals M. This whole thing does what everything else up here does. There's no need to specify the row and columns. There's no need to specify this double equal sign, single equal sign, whatever. You just put it right here. And it's as easy as that. This pipe operator allows us to not have to use any dollar signs to extract specifically some column, right? In this case, this column. We're just saying take the data from muscle and then filter it by or when sex equals male. And I kind of have a nice picture right here. If you're into coffee, I love coffee. This is what happens, right? I've got the naming conventions just a little different from a different class, but this is what's happening. We've got our data here, our data called muscle. Data called muscle. Okay, this is where everything comes from, and then this travels through, and whatever gets caught in this filter right here, the coffee grounds, is gonna be what's kept. Okay, we're effectively just grabbing what's inside of the filter. So if I'll come back to R, we just run this. Booyah! Check it out. So we have 4 of the same data set, whatever. But look, they're all the same. And to me, this one is the easiest, I think. I think this one is the easiest. It's the most readable. It's the most concise. It's a single line too. Now, there's another thing I want to talk about just real quick. Spacing in R does not matter. So I could do it like this, I think. Let me double check. So I'll call this muscle 4 just for now. Yeah, spacing doesn't matter. It does the same thing, right? I could even do like this. You'll find as we get into plotting that after pipe operators like this, I'll put things on a new line. That's just for organization. That's the way that my brain works. It does not matter what you do. So if I put that down here, this pipe operator still connects this statement to this statement, and then it's going to go right here. Okay, so let me just kind of rename that. just so we're good. We have no errors down here. We have no warning messages. We are all set. Oh boy. Okay, so before I stop the video, let me show you how to subset by a value. Okay, we're going to use the same rules that we saw here. Okay, we're going to use the same rules that we saw here, but we're going to use the Tidyverse version, the pipe operator version. Okay, and let's say that let me actually do a quick little check here. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to filter out based on age this time. And I just want to see kind of what the range of age is. So I use the summary function. I take the data and I use the $ here to specify the age column because that's the only one I care about right now. And that's only going to give me, look at that, the 5/6 number summary of that column. Okay, so it looks like the median is 60 years old. Let's go ahead and filter out that bottom half. Okay, based on age. Okay, so we're going to keep males and females together, but we're going to subset based on people less. Actually, let's do people older than 60 just for fun, right? If you can call that fun. Okay, so we'll call this new data, we'll call it old. We'll call it old people just for fun, right? Because you can call it whatever you want. I don't care. And it's going to get, okay, it's going to get the data from muscle. Let me move this, sorry. And then, easy enough, filter, still going to be the same filter. And then instead of sex, we're going to do age. Now, do we use a double equal sign? No. Do we use an equal sign? Actually, no. We want age greater than, and let's go ahead and say equal to 60. Okay. So in this case, we're just being very cautious in that we are grabbing everything that is older than 60 and 60. If we just did this, this would exclude 60. This would be everything that is older or larger than 60, not including 60. But let's just go ahead and keep it in there. Okay. So if I run that, booyah, check it out. Let me kind of move this too. Man, so we have all these data over here, all these data sets. Check it out. We've got 31 people, 3 variables of old people. We can click on it to take a look. Look at this. All of the, see, there's a 60-year-old right there. And all of the people who are older than that, which is pretty great. Let's go ahead and run the summary on that. Booyah. Easy as pie, I guess. Check it out. So we've filtered based on age, older than 60, and we can double check that by the minimum age being 60. We're not grabbing anybody lower than that, okay? Or subsetting. Grabbing is probably not the best word. And then the oldest is 78, right? We have an equal number now, or close to an equal number of males and females, which is pretty cool. And then we can see how the density changes as well, right? So this is just another way of filtering, right? And there's a ton of other things we can do too. And I'll show you some sort of stuff here in the future. In fact, let's do this. Old, let's make one more, just so we can kind of bring this home, okay? So we're gonna call it old dudes. Okay, and so what do you think that means? Well, I want to filter out people who are older than 60 or 60 and older, and also the males. How am I going to do that? Well, I want to get the data from muscle, and then I want to filter based on age again. And the order here actually doesn't so much matter. And then I also want to filter based on sex. Double equal sign, male, booyah, run that. And check it out. We got old dudes. And we can double check that by saying, well, here, the summary of the old people gave us 16 males. In this case, we also have 16 males. We'll just go ahead and run this to old dudes. Booyah. Look at that. So there's a bunch of different things. And these, you can chain these and chain these and chain these as much as you want, right? It's pretty sweet. It is pretty sweet. Again, you could move this in front of 60, whatever, no big deal. It's going to do the same thing. The order in this case doesn't matter. Sometimes it does matter, but for now it didn't. Oh man, see, this is why I like the Tidyverse. It's much easier to use. That took me 2 seconds to kind of write up this English. This is literally English filtering instead of subsetting. Subsetting is kind of a foreign word. A lot of people use this package, this library, because of this. It's so readable. And once you learn that pipe operator equals or translates to, and then we're set, we're good. And that's pretty much that. Oh boy. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and pause it here and I will catch you in the next one.